Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I can see quite a few of you who have started trickling in. We are live. And for those of you who have just dialed in very quickly in the chat window, we really want to know where all our participants are coming in from today. Can you let us know which city are you dialing in from? So to all close to 100 of you who have dialed in, please let us know in the chat window which city you have dialed in from. We have Harsh from Varanasi, Bharti from Ranchi. Hello, everyone. Let's keep this going. Let us know which city you are sort of coming in from. We're all very excited to know where the audience is coming from. People in Delhi, anyone from outside of India, from Africa that have dialed in, from any other country also. We really want to know where our audience is streaming on in from today. We have someone from Lahore also who's joined in, Guwahati. Great. So to every one of you who have sort of dialed in, we have a very, very exciting masterclass which is brought to you today by the University of Pittsburgh-Katz Graduate School of Business. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you. There is a lot which you can take away from today's masterclass. You're going to get an overview about the city of Pittsburgh, the admissions process at the university, a little bit insight into their career management team, and of course, a lot of focus on what makes them unique and stand out, and why should it be a school for you to sort of consider. So going back to the university, Pitt Business is renowned for shaping influential business leaders to its strong connection to a global network of successful and engaging alumni with graduates excelling across different industries. The school, I know for a fact, offers some unparalleled career opportunities and a dynamic community which is dedicated to innovation and societal progress. What are we going to sort of focus on in today's masterclass? Like I mentioned, you will get an understanding about the evolving landscape in Pittsburgh, learn about the collaborations between tech and the healthcare system, also get insights as to how to build a holistic application, how to strengthen your profile, and get some effective tips and tricks on networking strategies. So we are close to 200 of us in the window. I did ask those who earlier tuned in to keep letting us know which city they're dialing in for. So please feel free to continue with that. While we're doing that, I'm going to quickly introduce everyone on the panel today, starting with myself. My name is Sabahat Farzuk. I'm an associate director with Seed Global Education. We're a UK headquartered company that facilitates interactions between top global universities like the one that we have with us here today and prospective students like yourself, giving you a chance to connect with the people at the university, understand what are the programs being offered, and also the services so that you make informed choices about your higher education and career plans. Joining me on the panel, we have Rebecca. Good morning, Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining us. Rebecca is the Associate Dean for MBA and Specialized Masters. She's also a Clinical Associate Professor of Business Administration. In her role as Associate Dean, she's responsible for student-facing leadership for their full-time MBA and Masters of Science program, as well as the part-time MBA program. She works very closely with students, staff, and faculty to maximize the educational experience and professional development, as well as the career services. So thank you so much, Rebecca, once again for joining us. Along with her, we have Trey Coles. Hi, Trey. He is the Associate Director of Student Diversity Recruitment at the University of Pittsburgh-Katz Graduate School of Business. With nearly 3 years of work experience in this role, he plays a key part in attracting talented students, such as like yourself, from diverse background and bringing them to the business school. So in case if you are looking to get an admit into this university, Trey is your go-to person. You need to connect with him. We also have Chris Barlow. Hi, Chris, who is the head of strategic partnerships and an adjunct professor of marketing at Katz Graduate School of Business. In his current role, he leads strategic partnership and enhances career opportunities for students through industry connections. Very, very important. We need to get some really important insights from him as well. We also have Bill McShane. Hi, Bill, who is the Associate Director for Integrated Learning at the school, where he oversees global programs such as study abroad, exchanging, consulting projects. He co-designs and teaches internships across focused on transferable skills and works to secure funding for education abroad initiatives. Joining them also for today's masterclass, we have Laura, who's the Senior Director of Graduate Academic Program and Student Services. Molly, who's the Assistant Director for the Katz Career Management. I know there's so many of us on the panel today. You're all very, very excited. So while we wait for a few more of you to trickle in, I'm going to quickly run my first poll question on the screen in front of you. Great. So which aspect of the Katz Graduate School of Business interests you the most? I'm sure a lot of you have read about the university, know a little bit. Is it the focus on the tech industry? Is it the focus on the healthcare sector? Is it the career management team and its support services? Or is it the city of Pittsburgh and the various opportunities that it provides? Or are all of these things something which really, really captures your interest when you're looking at Katz Business School of Katz Graduate School of Business? I'm going to wait a few more seconds for all of you to go and cast your vote. We're close to 300 people in the audience. I would request all of you to please go and cast your vote and let us know what is your area of interest. Which aspect of the school is something that really, really interests and excites you? Great. We have quite a few of you who have already casted the votes. I'm going to end the poll question and share the results on the screen in front of you. A lot of students are interested in the focus on the tech industry, followed by people who are, of course, interested in all of the above and the others. So thank you so much, all of you who did participate in the poll. With that, I now hand over to Trey to start off with the presentation and give us a brief overview about the university.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sabat, for the opportunity and the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Thank you so much for joining today's masterclass. My name is Trey Coles. I'm the Associate Director of Student Diversity Recruitment. And today we'll be exploring Pittsburgh, the admissions process, but also the career support at the Katz Graduate School of Business and Tech and Healthcare. Before we started, I just wanted to send a huge thank you to Seed Global Education for this opportunity. It has been a pleasure working with Sabat and Paris over the last few months with this masterclass, and really looking forward to presenting all the amazing opportunities that the University of Pittsburgh Katz Graduate School of Business can offer for the students on the call today. Also, I want to send a huge thank you to all the students that joined today. We're looking forward to, presenting the University of Pittsburgh, but also helping you make a decision to apply to one of our specialized master's programs or one of our full-time MBA programs. And we hope we can see you in the fall of 2025 next year. A brief introduction of myself. Again, my name is Trey Coles, Associate Director of Admissions here at Pitt Business. I am a Pitt graduate. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in 2016. And I see many students on the call today from Delhi and Mumbai and Pune. And I had an opportunity to visit these cities a few years ago, and also in the summertime. So it is great to hear we have many students from Delhi and Mumbai, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you again in the future. To introduce our staff on the call today and my colleagues that I'm really excited to hear from. Again, Chris Barlow is the head of strategic partnerships at Pitt Business. And today he'll be discussing the growth, development, and also the innovation of Pittsburgh, but also share some of the historical perspectives of our city as well. Followed by Chris, you'll hear from Bill McShane, who is the Associate Director of Integrated Learning, who will be discussing how students leverage Pitt's positioning in the region through integrated learning opportunities such as internships, case competitions, and also the Super Analytic Challenge here at Pitt Business. Following Bill McShane, you will hear from Renee Schiffhauer, who is the Assistant Director of Career Management, who will be discussing career outcomes, but also how her team sets students up for success before the program begins, and more importantly, during their time at Katz. So at the University of Pittsburgh, we have more than 230 years of excellence. Chris Barlow will be discussing more of the historical background of Katz and also the city of Pittsburgh, but I do want to throw some tidbits about how the institution was established, and more importantly, some fun facts for students about the University of Pittsburgh. Pitt has approximately 15 graduate schools that are dispersed throughout the university. And the picture in the background, you'll see the Cathedral of Learning is probably the most popular spot on campus. We see many students taking pictures during the first couple of weeks of the semester at the Cathedral. It is the second tallest educational building in the world. So it is a great monument that we have on our campus, and more importantly, a very popular landscape here in Pittsburgh. Our campus houses over 33,000 students. So the University of Pittsburgh has a very strong international population. So I see many students from India on the call, I know many students from Africa are on the call today, and if there's any others, there was a strong sense of community of international population at the University of Pittsburgh. But more importantly, at our business school, you will find that our campus is very internationally friendly, where we find many students from the New Delhis and Mumbai's and Bangalore's, Hyderabad's, Pune's, Chennai's, Agra, etc. So it is great to see many of you students on the call today. And again, we look forward to seeing you all sometime next year. To give a brief overview of the city of Pittsburgh is that Pittsburgh is one of the top ranked places to live in the United States. And more importantly, it was ranked by the Forbes, National Geographic, and Places Rated Almanac. And within the city of Pittsburgh, we do host many Fortune 500 companies such as PNC, PPG, Dick's Sporting Goods, Wabtuck, Viatris, US Steel, and Alcoa. So without further ado, I have the honor to introduce Chris Barlow, who will be discussing the innovation, but also the background of Pittsburgh. So Chris, feel free to take it away.
Great. Thanks, Trey. And good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be sharing some information about our fair city, our fair region, of course, our university. Trey just shared a photo of our Cathedral Learning, and I like to think of the Cathedral Learning as really a beacon of higher learning, not only for our region, but across the world. And as Trey mentioned, it's a real privilege and an honor for us to work with so many people and so many bright minds from around the world. So, again, thank you for joining us this afternoon, this evening. At the University of Pittsburgh, we like to say it's possible at Pitt. The University of Pittsburgh is integrally linked to the city and the region. So I wanted to share a little bit more with you about our past, the history of our place, but then bring you up to the present and discuss our future. And hopefully you can envision your future, that you realize that for you, coming to the University of Pittsburgh, it's also possible at Pitt. Next slide. So the history of the region, well before colonization of the Americas, this region was the nation of 6 united indigenous peoples tribes, notably the Senecas and the Iroquois. And for them, this area was an important confluence of trade and exchange among these united tribes. Next slide. So what we mean by this confluence of tribes, this united tribes in the history of the region, is that we talk about a confluence because we have 3 rivers that flow together that form the area of Pittsburgh, notably the Allegheny flowing from the north, Monongahela flowing from the south, and then the creation of the Ohio River. The Ohio River then runs into the Mississippi, which flows into the Gulf of Mexico, which is then forming into the Atlantic Ocean. So Pittsburgh, through our history, has been a gateway to the heartland of the country. It enables access to the middle of the United States, what we refer to as the heartland. So it's been a strategic meeting point through eons of history here. More recently, next slide, please. More recently, it was actually where our founding president, George Washington, got his name for fame, where he essentially started his own career. And that was because at the time, before the founding of the United States, there was an important trading point that was French-controlled, Fort Duquesne, and George Washington got a start in the banks of the Allegheny and the Monongahela, trying to, for the British, overtake that fort. Unfortunately, that wasn't a successful endeavor for him initially in those forces, but he became famous because of his pursuits and military efforts at that time. Next slide. So, through the eras and then into the Industrial Revolution, Pittsburgh became known as the Steel City. We were very much influential in the beginning of this industry. Next slide. And there's specific reasons why that is geographically for this area. Namely, that we have ample coal in the mountains around Pittsburgh. We also have ore, and then we're able to combine that with scrap, and that produce steel. So very much the image of Pittsburgh, next slide, please, is wrapped up in this steel industry, the Steel City. In fact, our National Football League, American Football League team is named the Steelers. And the icon of the steel industry representing coal, ore, and steel scrap is actually the logo of this football team. So our image, our history through the Industrial Revolution was really related to steel industrial development. And that related, next slide, please, to the formation of really pivotal corporations in commerce in our region, namely U.S. Steel, the financial institution BNY Mellon. In fact, Mellon was a founding industrialist in the steel industry, so bringing capital into play. Some of you may know the company Alcoa, which is famous for aluminum, but we also had companies like Pittsburgh Plate and Glass, which is a global corporation, still headquartered here. Heinz, you may recognize the Heinz brand, Heinz ketchup. That was intricately linked to the glass industry as well and transportation of goods. And then Westinghouse, which was and still is an engineering and energy company headquartered here in Pittsburgh. Next slide, please. So this led to many different innovations for our area. For example, Westinghouse innovated the alternating system, which allowed energy to be transmitted. They also created transition stations, transformers, so the ability to convert energy and bring that into households. Also in our region, it was one of the first areas to do active oil exploration, but also conversion into gasoline. And we were able to create new methods to extract that oil. In fact, there's a town in Western Pennsylvania, not far from Pittsburgh, called Oil City. Next slide, please. So, this energy, this ability to bring sort of innovation to bear with energy enabled and fueled our growth. In fact, not far from the University of Pittsburgh, a couple miles from our university, is the site of the first filling station in the United States. And that was sort of an advent, again, of that ability to harness energy, but also fuel the Industrial Revolution that happened during that period of time. Next slide, please. Now, during that, this photo here, what you're seeing is, again, that confluence where the Allegheny and the Monongahela is creating the Ohio River. That point, again, is the confluence. So this is downtown Pittsburgh, obviously a long time ago. But the growth of Pittsburgh coincided intricately with the University of Pittsburgh. And that little arrow that I show at the top of the screen is actually what we refer to as the cathedral learning, that image that Trey showed earlier. Next slide, please. So that was actually developed, construction began in the 1920s and concluded in the 1930s. And it still remains the tallest academic administration building in the Western Hemisphere. Next slide, please. And again, this is really very much about sort of as industry grew in the area, we were able to, with 230 years of history, be a part of that and provide the higher education, the minds, the ideas, the research that helped to fuel that growth and develop tremendous innovations. So here's an old image of Pittsburgh from the 1920s that you can see the downtown. This next slide, what we're showing right now, is an example of one of our innovations that came directly out of the University of Pittsburgh, which was Dr. Jonas Salk and the polio vaccine. So that vaccine was invented by Dr. Salk here at the University of Pittsburgh. And that really led to, with health sciences, the birth of a completely new industry for our city and our region. Next slide, please. So that brings us to the present. Here's a modern day view of downtown Pittsburgh. Again, that point, that confluence, and the University of Pittsburgh is right in the background. You can't quite see it from this photo. But as the city grew, we also altered and changed our industrial makeup. Next slide, please. Now, the base of that is still manufacturing, but we've been able to add in, and through the work of our higher education institutions, really create a renaissance where we've introduced with that healthcare, health sciences, robotics, autonomy, AI. And I'd like to share a little bit more about that with you right now. Here's a recent article from the Financial Times, which is noting that Pittsburgh has become a standout for foreign direct investment, FDI. So what we have seen in this area over the last 50 years, in part because of the work of our higher education institution, is a tremendous amount of investment that is further fueling that capital necessary to generate more growth in our area. Next slide. So one example, how we play a role at the University of Pittsburgh in that is we like to say that we bring the eds and the meds. So education and medicine. And that is primarily through our School of Medicine, but also our School of Engineering, School of Computing and Information, our School of Business combining together, School of Public Policy, our School of Public Health, which has led to a lot of further patents. We have received a tremendous amount of federal funding and support that goes into our research, our ability to invent. And then what we are doing is we're pushing that into commercial endeavors and new discoveries through commercial works. Next slide. So a prime example that in Pittsburgh is the formation of University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, which is known as UPMC. UPMC is the largest private employer in the state of Pennsylvania. There's a picture of their headquarters in downtown. That headquarters was previously the headquarters of U.S. Steel, but because of the growth of this industry in around health and medical science, UPMC has emerged as one of our largest employers and really a true innovator in our area. But we also share this city and this region with other really important players in this space, namely Highmark Health, which is adjacent to this building downtown. Highmark Health is both Allegheny Health Network, but also they have Highmark Insurance as well. Together with that, we also have Bayer, which is a German company you may have heard of. They've long invested in Pittsburgh. Thermo Fisher Scientific, Viatris, Haemonetics, many other companies have created this ecosystem of growth in and around health and life sciences. On this slide, we have other homegrown corporations as a result of that. The Eden Corporation, part of that was a spinoff of Westinghouse. They're a global corporation. PNC is one of our largest financial institutions in the country, a top employer for students coming out of especially our undergraduate programs at the University of Pittsburgh. ANSYS is a simulation software company. EOS produces energy and batteries, new forms of alternatives to lithium batteries. We have great retail companies here in Pittsburgh: Dick's Sporting Goods, American Eagle Outfitters. These are top brands in the United States. And some of you may have heard of this newer company called Duolingo, which aids and supports language education as well. Next slide, please. So, I'd be remiss not to mention an important academic neighbor of ours, and that is Carnegie Mellon University, or what we refer to as CMU. So Carnegie Mellon University sits adjacent to the University of Pittsburgh. We are literally neighbors to each other. And Carnegie Mellon University is world famous for AI, number one in robotics, computing and engineering. And as the University of Pittsburgh has fueled this tremendous growth in around health science and life sciences, CMU has fueled this growth and driven this growth into robotics and autonomy. So we really enjoy two ecosystems of innovation here in our fair city of Pittsburgh, one around robotics and autonomy, the other around life sciences and health sciences. So some of the companies here that are growing out of Pittsburgh: Humotech, which supports generative muscle development; Astrobotics, which is developing lunar rovers for the moon; Atheon, which is creating hospital robots to support in hospital administration; in Aurora, which is doing autonomous trucking. So interestingly, that we had the first fueling station, gasoline station in the United States. We're also a birthplace of autonomous vehicles and driving in the United States as well. So, 100 years later, we continue to invent in how we transport people and goods. Next slide, please. We also have had a number of corporations that have invested in our area and continue to come into this region. So Accenture, you may have heard of them. Apple, I'm sure you are familiar with the Apple Corporation. Deloitte, McKinsey & Company. FedEx Ground was actually started in a headquarters here in Pittsburgh. PwC, SAP, the list goes on. In fact, Microsoft is another employer. This is just a picture of us visiting their offices recently here in Pittsburgh. And one of our alum from the Katz Graduate School enabled that visit, Encore Goal. But in this picture also, we have numerous other Pitt alumni that are working at Microsoft here in Pittsburgh today. Next slide. So briefly, I just want to share a little bit about our future. What does the future mean for this area? Well, this future is happening right now. This is a rendered sketch of UPMC Presbyterian Hospital, which is in development currently on our campus at Oakland. This building is due for completion in 2026. So there's a lot of growth, a lot of development happening today. Next slide, please. And we had a really interesting announcement from NVIDIA about 3 months ago. So NVIDIA has chosen Pittsburgh as the site of their AI tech community, coupling and partnering both with Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh to accelerate innovation and public-private collaboration. Why are they doing that? Because they're combining sort of the science for the health sciences, but they're also able to combine with robotics and autonomy happening through Carnegie Mellon University, right in the same neighborhood. Next slide. So another example of future growth and development, this is another construction site that's going to be completed this coming year, 2025. And this is the Bioforge at the University of Pittsburgh. So in the rendered sketch above, you're going to see that that building to the left of the new building. That was actually an old steel mill. And that old steel mill has been converted into a robotics discovery and automation and incubation center, which is now open today. The building to the right is this Bioforge, and this is a new high-tech manufacturing center for cell and gene treatments and therapies. So again, what we're seeing is the confluence of science, manufacturing, and artificial intelligence right here in Pittsburgh. Next slide, please. Likely your first entree point to this fair area would be through the Pittsburgh International Airport. I just want to share here again, this is a rendered sketch. We will have a new airport complete next year. And this is what you will see when you come to visit us here in Pittsburgh. So this is a picture of the new international airport. And finally here, I wanted to leave off with, like Pittsburgh, our School of Business has a confluence in initiatives to further support our growth and development. We call these our paths of distinction. That includes focus and initiatives in education and curriculum in around health sciences, digital transformation, which you can think of as AI as well, and then societal impact. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Bill McShane, and he's going to explain the programs that we have in place to support, get our students into pathways into these industries at the University of Pittsburgh and for our region. So I'd like to leave with just saying, I hope you all realize for you, your future, it's possible at Pitt. Bill, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. And just to pick up a little bit on the theme and the threads of rivers and those paths of distinction that Chris mentioned, you should really think of them as paths of opportunity for you as you take advantage of all the programming here at the Katz Graduate School of Business. And really that connection point to the ecosystem and our region are our integrated and experiential learning programs. So our integrated learning is our coursework that links concepts from multiple disciplines, giving you different lenses through which to understand a business problem. So this might be a case study framed both through an accounting perspective as well as an economics perspective. On the other hand, our experiential learning enables you to apply those concepts and theories from that coursework to real-world challenges. So these opportunities will enable you to gain critical technical and transferable skills that will involve you both inside and outside the classroom. And as we move to the next slide here, I really want you to think about our experiential learning programs like a bridge. So if you think of the bottom part there, you see the roadway, right? Those are the projects and the experiences themselves, a few of which I'll highlight over the coming slides. But you'll notice that the bridge is more than those projects and more than that roadway. In the middle there, you have the tower, right? It's the main support piece of the bridge, giving you that foundation. You should think of that as our world-class faculty that teach these courses and provide you with a solid analytical and technical foundation to take on these challenges. But that's still not the complete picture of this bridge. You'll see coming down from the sides various support structures and cables that really help keep this bridge from falling down. And that's the guidance and support that our mentors, our experienced coaches, our academic advisors, and our career advisors give you along the way. We enable you to provide deep expertise to these issues and make sure that at the end of the day, when you complete these experiences, you can translate them back onto your resume. And finally, I'll note that this roadway runs both directions, right? Our classroom is connected by the projects to the community in Pittsburgh, and we're also bringing the community back into the classroom. So on the next slide, you'll see here a few highlighted opportunities that I'll initially start with, including our Six Sigma theory and practice course that gives you a data-driven approach to process improvement aimed at near elimination of total defects from every product, process, and transaction. So guided by an experienced mentor, you'll learn how to define, measure, analyze, improve, and control a process. And following this course, if you receive a B or better, you'll get a green belt certification that you can put directly on your resume as a credential. Our MBA capstone course is an immersion course that exposes you directly to the innovation system here in Pittsburgh or elsewhere in the US. The idea is to bring together all the knowledge and coursework you've gained over the time here and really integrate that into your own innovation project. In Pittsburgh, we've connected with a number of companies that Chris highlighted earlier, including PPG, Aurora, and PNC, that really help further this experience for you as a student. Our global courses really help bridge what is happening around the world to the Pittsburgh region. It's an opportunity not only to expose you to international business, but enable you to compare and understand how themes and topics resonate both here and abroad. And our consulting field project, which really serves as the model for many of the other experiences that I'll highlight over the coming slides here. But this course teaches you management consulting as a problem-solving framework. You work in a team of 3 to 4 other students, applying those analytical tools and concepts that you've gained in your courses to a real-world problem. You're led by a dedicated faculty advisor as well as an experienced executive coach. You're then matched to a client organization to tackle a problem of immediacy. On the bottom of the screen here, you'll see a few of the companies that we have partnered with recently. And these projects really are diverse in sort of the business discipline or the themes that they're tackling. We've had one recent one that looked at workforce scheduling and workforce sort of development at a local tech and advanced manufacturing center, to one that looked at travel trends of Gen Z students and travelers, and how do we connect them with appropriate risk management resources. But on the next slide, I know a number of you have already expressed in the poll and maybe in some of the questions, interest in the technology field and how do we connect with that ecosystem here in Pittsburgh? Well, one highlight here is what we call our Pennsylvania Robotics and Technology Fellowships, which really help support small and advanced manufacturers in the region. Again, it enables you to be connected to problems that are happening immediately at the company and allow you to integrate that learning from your coursework to these real world challenges. And similar to every other program that we offer here, or many of the programs we offer here, you're guided by an experienced executive. One interesting highlight is Chris mentioned a company called Humotech. That is actually our current project that we are working on with them. We're in week 2 or week 3 of the project, looking at some technical pieces as well as some business challenges and opportunities for them as a company. On the next slide, we highlight one of our innovative and sort of immersion, sort of hackathon style events, which we call the Super Analytics Challenge, which provides an opportunity for you to create data-driven solutions addressing challenges faced by communities throughout the southwestern Pennsylvania region. Participants from the program, you really get to frame a problem, you create a data methodology, and you generate operable proposals for solutions to these challenges. You'll learn from a variety of Fortune 500 executives and representatives from national and local community organizations. For example, last year's challenge centered on workforce development, and the winning team came up with a solution to deploy mobile training units that could work with our high school and technical high schools to basically build pipelines of talent to these technology and advanced manufacturing sectors in the region. And again, you're guided by an experienced coach and mentor, and it really helps you iterate on a solution and kind of dive deeper, leveraging a lot of the analytical and data analysis skills you're going to gain here from our program. And then following that, if for those of you that are here over the summer, there's opportunities to really connect with some of our broader partner community organizations throughout the region. We call this our Bridge program. So you and your peers are matched with a community partner to assist in developing and implementing solutions for complex challenges that the partners face daily. A great example is we partnered recently with the City of Pittsburgh's Department of Innovation and Performance. This really is designed to help make the local government more efficient, but really help to integrate technology solutions into the local government sector. The student team here examined fiber rollout, high-speed internet access throughout our region, and identified lessons for Pittsburgh. So from their analysis over the summer, they established some various guidelines that the city is now looking to implement in terms of how they dig to install these fiber optics, how they enhance their marketing efforts to dig once to save costs and minimize resident disruption, as well as ways that they can best provide Wi-Fi to the greater public. What I'll leave you with on my final slide here is you may be wondering, what do I as a student gain out of these programs? Well, one, you gain professional development and things that you can enhance and add to your resume. But you're also developing and gaining a number of transferable and critical skills that you can then talk about as you're interviewing for the next position and as you're building your career following Katz. And I'll share with you a few comments that students have shared with us as they exit these programs. For example, one student noted, academically, it allowed me to apply theoretical concepts from my coursework, such as product configuration and process optimization in communication in a real world setting. I gained hands-on experience working with a client, leveraging communication, problem solving, and project management skills. Another student noted that it provided hands-on experience integrating AI technologies to real world business scenarios. It allowed them to deepen their understanding of cost-benefit analyses and strategic planning, skills that are critical for their future career. And speaking of your future career, I'd like to now hand it off to my colleague, Renee Schaffauer, from our Career Management and Corporate Engagement Partners, who's really going to talk to you about how you bridge these opportunities as you take the next step in your career following Katz.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending today. So we've heard a lot today about our engagement with the Pittsburgh region and how the Katz graduate experiences really sets the stage for future career opportunities. So attending graduate school, the business school, it's a great time to expand knowledge, build skills, and redefine career goals. And we know that at this time, success just doesn't happen in the classroom alone or just with career services. Successful students we've seen have start with the mindset of taking initiative and seeking out opportunities. So let's first start with where some of those opportunities have landed our MBA graduates. Many of our graduates have secured tech roles at leading organizations like TikTok, SAP, and LinkedIn. Amazon continues to be one of the primary employers of our Katz graduates. And beyond tech, we see our students are also finding opportunities with industry leaders such as FedEx and Walmart. Next, you can see the key functions and industries that they are pursuing. Top functions include information technology, and at the top industries, Technology continues to be a major destination for our students, with many securing roles as product managers. We also know that many of our students are securing positions across the United States. They're working in major cities such as Boston, Washington, D.C. area, New York, and Seattle. We do know that a student's journey begins long before attending Katz. So on the next slide, we'll see that, recognizing that each of our individual students that come to us, they're bringing their own skills, their own experiences and aspirations. So we provide personalized coaching that will help guide and support you based upon your specific background. Now, career management begins to partner with students in the summer prior to the fall semester with the Katz Career Foundations program. And this offers key career strategies focused on creating a U.S. business resume, interview techniques, and connecting you with our executives in residence to really start to navigate your career journey. We also begin to set the stage for building professional connections. Networking isn't just about collecting business cards or connecting on LinkedIn. It's about building those genuine connections that can inspire and open doors. So on our final slide, I really want to take a moment to show a great example of one of our recent graduates who's really had a great resolve and a passion for engagement when he first arrived at Katz. So Vishal Dasgupta really went beyond the classroom. He fully embraced the career resources, met with our executives and residents on a regular basis, and excelled at building professional connections. He secured a position as a fellow with the Pitt's Center for Sustainable Business, where he was highly involved in one of our strongest performers. Additionally, with his fortitude and avid interest in AI, he chaired one of the first generative AI and business innovation conferences at the University of Pittsburgh. And in the spring of 2024, with Vishal's endless investment into his career aspirations, he participated in the Adobe Analytics Challenge, securing first place and winning a prize of $30,000. The partnership between students and career management team is not a one-sided effort. It is a collaborative journey. It's driven by the students' willingness to engage fully with the opportunities that are before them. So to learn more about Katz Graduate School of Business, Trey will share out some information next.
Thank you so excuse me. Thank you so much, Renee, Chris, and Bill. And now that you heard about the great opportunities that is available for you at the Katz Graduate School of Business, now I'm here to discuss how to apply to Katz, but also what we offer here at Pitt Business between our specialized master's programs and also our full-time MBA as well. So what we offer at Katz is that at the Pitt Business, we offer a full-time MBA program, which is 18 months. We offer a plethora of specialized master's programs, which I will dive into in a little bit. A part-time MBA, an online MBA, and through different departments within Pitt Business, we do offer an executive MBA, many doctoral programs, 8 education research centers, and also executive education programs as well. So spending a little bit of time in our full-time MBA, it is designed to be completed as a cohort experience in only 18 months. And essentially, the program provides you with time for a summer internship, but to Bill's point earlier, it includes an integrated learning capstone experience during your final semester, while providing you to join the workforce 4 months earlier than what you'll find at other schools and many other traditional 2-year MBA programs. For our full-time MBA, students typically bring post-bachelor professional experience anywhere between 3 to 5 years. And that program begins in early August with coursework that concludes 18 months later with that immersive capstone experience. Looking at our specialized master's programs, we have around 6, and the list is MS in Accounting, Marketing Science, an MS in Finance, Supply Chain Management, Management Information Systems, and also a Master's in Management. These programs are typically 30 credits, which take anywhere between a year to complete, depending on your prerequisites. But also for a majority of our programs, so for MIS and Accounting, Marketing Science, Finance, Supply Chain Management, we are able to add the Business Analytics Certificate to these programs, which allows for international students to gain an additional 36 months of OPT time. So that includes the program extending typically 3 semesters, which would take typically 17 months to complete. So for a majority of our specialized master's programs, we do offer the Business Analytics Certificate, which allows for that additional STEM designation for our students. Looking at our full-time joint and dual degree programs, we do partner with other schools within the University of Pittsburgh. And I won't spend too much time on each program, but I will run through our MBA JD, which we're partnering with Pitt School of Law, our MBA Master of Science Engineering, which we're partnering with the Pitt Swanson School of Engineering, our MBA Masters of Public and International Affairs, which we're partnering with a school called GISPIA, which stands for the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs, our MBA MID, which we've seen more applications this year, which we're partnering with the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs, and MBA MHA, which we're partnering with the Graduate School of Public Health. And to Chris's point earlier, having UPMC, right on our campus is a huge benefit for us, as it is one of the best hospitals in the world. And finally, our MBA MSW, which we are partnering with the School of Social Work as well. For our dual degrees, we do offer an MBA MIS, MBA MS in Finance, MBA MS in Marketing Science, and MBA MS in Supply Chain Management. For our dual degrees, these programs are typically designed to be completed anywhere between 21 months, also with time for the internship and the capstone experience. Each program does require at least 4 terms of study to complete, and typically right around 60 credits for our dual degrees as well. Let's dive into the admission requirements. I know we'll see a lot of questions towards the end, and I will spend some time on the GMAT or GRE because I've seen in the chat box there's some questions and concerns. So I will focus on this section. But to start, we would need an undergraduate degree from an accredited institution. So as you're applying to Katz, we don't need your official transcript at the moment. But if you have been admitted and you decide to attend Katz in the fall of next year, we would request your official transcript to be sent to our office. So again, an accredited degree, whether you have a business background or tech background or engineering or a medical background, we would need to see all of your courses taken within your previous years during your undergraduate career. That's how you'll be evaluated. So please make sure that your undergraduate degree is included whenever you're submitting your application, because that is the first step that we're looking at, the first point of contact that we're reviewing when reviewing applications. The GMAT or GRE. So at Pitt Business, we are test optional. So that means that test score isn't required. But for most of our students, there's a guideline that we tend to tell students to follow to make sure that you are prepared for the quantitative heavy background of the program. So the guideline for our students is at least a 3.25 GPA and a B average and 6 or more of your quantitative courses. So for students, they may have maybe a liberal arts degree, or maybe they have a biology background with not many quant courses on your transcript, such as any finance or accounting or stats courses. We highly suggest for you to take the GMAT or GRE because that shows you have the academic preparedness to be successful in our program. But for any students that graduated first class with distinction or first class or even second class upper division, and you have a decent amount of courses on your transcript, that would allow you to potentially bypass a GMAT or GRE. So we tell students it is optional, but it is always best if you don't have a quantitative background to submit a GMAT or GRE, just to ensure that you have the academic preparedness to prepare for our program. In addition, we do require at least 2 letters of recommendations. These have to be professional references. We aren't able to accept any references from friends or relatives. At least 2 letters of recommendations from maybe a past supervisor or director, or maybe the CEO of your company. You're able to use faculty, maybe a previous academic advisor, someone who can speak to your analytical skills, your leadership abilities, and more importantly, someone who's going to give you the best opportunity to present yourself, but also speak to your background and some of your more technical skills that will make you successful in the program. In addition, we will need an updated resume, which includes your recent work experience. So if you have any internships, if you've completed any certificates, if you have experience with Java or Python, make sure that you're included on your resume. We want to make sure that you're selling yourself the best way possible. But also in your recent job description, make sure that you include all of the recent history that you've done, everything that you're doing right now in your career, to make sure you're selling yourself the best to the admissions committee, but also that we understand that you are prepared for the program. There is a written essay, and that question does vary typically year from year. So again, make sure that you take your time in reading it. Make sure that the school that you're applying to, if you're applying to Katz, make sure that the program is listed in your essay. we've seen many students make the mistake of using another school or another business school in the essay, and that is an easy mistake to make. So make sure that you're taking time to review, but also crafting an essay that speaks to your abilities, but more importantly, why you're interested in Pitt Business, but also, what will you do at Pitt Business to be successful? Will you work with career management? Will you, decide to, work closely with our faculty? Will you attend any of your sessions with your academic advisors? So just make sure you're very clear and concise with your written essay. And that also helps your case whenever you're applying to the Katz School of Business. The TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo English tests. So the admissions committee does recommend a total score of 100 or better on the TOEFL, a 7.0 or better for the IELTS exam, and a 130 or better for the Duolingo English test. Again, this is required for all international applicants. There are a few countries that are exempt. Typically, students from Nigeria and Ghana are able to bypass the TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo English test before our Indian candidates. We do require a test, English proficiency test from our students. And finally, I saw a lot of questions about scholarship, and I'm happy to answer any questions after today's presentation. Katz offers merit-based scholarships, which are essentially financial awards that are given to students based on their achievements, academic background, more so rather than our financial needs. So these scholarships are typically awarded for strong academic performance, strong GMAT or GRE score, and also years of work experience as well. So again, our scholarships are merit-based. Each student is reviewed for a scholarship during the time of their admission. So once you're admitted, you will be alerted of your scholarship amount, and the admissions committee does make that decision after you've been accepted to our program. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that towards the end of today's presentation. And on the final slide, I see a lot of questions about the fee waiver process. For every student that joined today, you will receive an application fee waiver, so you are able to apply to the Katz School of Business for free. We thank you all for your time today and for joining us, and we really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about Pitt Business and how we can help you become successful in your careers. So for each student that's interested in a fee waiver, please create your application at business.pitt.edu/Katz. Also, email your fee waiver request to admissions@katz.pitt.edu, and our admissions team will review your submission and then also send you a fee waiver code very shortly. These fee waiver codes are only available for fall 2025. So for any students that are considering spring 25, unfortunately, at this point, it is now too late, but we are accepting applications, of course, and fee waiver codes for fall 2025. In the email you send to our office, please make sure you include the event you registered for, the program that you're applying to, and also the semester you intend to start. So for example, if I were applying, I would say, hi, my name is Trey Coles. I attended the SEED Global Education webinar. I'm applying to the MS in Marketing Science program, and I intend to apply in fall 2025. Once we receive that, we will get back to you shortly with a fee waiver code. In conclusion, on behalf of the Pitt Business team here, we just wanted to say thank you all so much for your time today. And it was an honor presenting to you all. We really look forward to working with you sometime next year. And it is a great opportunity to work with SEED Global Education. And thank you to Sabat for this opportunity. If you have any questions or would like to stay connected with us, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, my name is Trey Coles. Today, you also heard from Chris Barlow, who is the head of strategic partnerships. You heard from Bill McShane, who is Associate Director of Integrated Learning. And finally, you heard from Renee Schiffhauer, the Assistant Director of Career Management. So we're still on the call. We're excited to answer your questions, and we can't wait to see you in fall of 2025. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Renee, for a very, very insightful session. As you can see, the chat window, the Q&A window is buzzing with a lot of questions. So I'm going to dive right into it. Cole, if you could stop the screen share, that would be helpful. So I could just spotlight everyone here. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. A lot of questions. Thank you for all of the audience. I can see close to 300 of you who are still here. Please stay around. We are going to be taking your questions. And of course, if you have more questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box. The first question that I want to take is from Sujal, who's saying she's interested in studying at Katz, but unsure about what kind of job prospects can an Indian student sort of look into especially considering, for international students, return on investment, taking out student loans, all of that becomes a huge factor. So what are the kind of job opportunities that they can look forward to on completion of their program or course?
I can help support the answer. Or
Yes.
Renee, if
Yeah.
you'd like to.
That's okay, Chris, if you could start.
I think the job prospects and opportunities, it kind of parlays into what Bill had said.
Right.
We have a lot of opportunities for students to engage in integrated learning, which provides experience and a way to pad your resume here in the United States. So those are 4 credit, like our consulting field project or Six Sigma, gets you united, with a company in a team setting. But we also have fellowship opportunities.
Right.
So let's take Bashal. Renee had shared Bashal as an example. Bashal was working incredibly hard before he even got here. And then every opportunity that was open to Bashal, either be it networking or a case competition or a consulting field project or a robotics technology fellowship, Bashal was grabbing those. He's probably one of the best students I've ever met who was actively networking before he even got to Pittsburgh,
Right.
entered Pittsburgh. So, our career management, career services team works incredibly hard to support our students. And they're a partner to you. So my advice is, obviously concentrate on your academics. That's why you're coming here to learn. But remember that, you really have to work at your job search and partner up with great people like Renee on this call, but also our executives and residents, and really dedicate yourself to creating opportunities and taking advantage of other opportunities that the school offers. Renee, I'm sorry if I missed something there.
Nope, spot on.
Great. To sort of just build on to that question, can we talk about, I know you did highlight this in one of your presentations, but just a little bit about what are the typical industries where students get placed in after, let's say, pursuing a master's or an MBA from Katz?
Renee, you want to take that one?
I did. Yeah, I mean, we continue to, our students are looking into, obviously the tech industry is huge. Also, considering to see our students working through areas of consulting, working in just a variety of, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank at the moment. I need my slide. But yeah, students are really, I mean, we work with them to try and determine if they're into project management and if the areas that supply chain, as well as accounting and financial areas. So again, the support of our students, as we talked about, personalized coaching is really meeting the students where they're at and trying to help determine where they would like to go.
Fantastic. I'm going to sort of build on to that itself, because a lot of questions that are coming in, as you can see, are revolving around the same topic. There's someone who also wants to know if they were to pursue a master's degree at Katz, will they be eligible for a post-study work visa as such? And then what will sort of be, how long will that be available for?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one, Sabad. So typically international students on an F1 visa allows up to 12 months, but how I mentioned, we have many programs that are STEM designated. So for example, if a student was applying to our MS accounting program at Business Analytics, the OPT is extended to 36 months, which would be 3 years. Or if a student applied to our MBA MIS program, MBA Business Analytics program, so that is 36 months, but a traditional specialized master's program like accounting or finance or a signature MBA would be up to 12 months.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Trey. Since you mentioned the STEM bit, there is someone who wants to know that how does Katz Graduate Business School align its MBA and Business Masters program with emerging industry trends, and what kind of specific career support does it provide to STEM as well as non-STEM paths? I know the question is multiple fold, but if we could just simplify and sort of answer that in a bit, I'm sure a lot of students will gain some understanding.
Maybe I can take a crack at that. So when you have a STEM designation, occupational and practical training, OPT, is opened up for 3 years. If you're graduating with non-STEM designated degree, you have 1 year. And all that means is that a company can hire you for 1 year or 3 years if you're STEM without having to go through the H-1B visa application with US federal government. Many companies are going to look at that and just say, we're either going to be willing to sponsor a student eventually, or we're not going to be willing to sponsor a student eventually. So while OPT is very beneficial, the reality is that, you know, it's important to find opportunities where companies have hired sponsored H-1B candidates. We have some tools that allow students to have access to that. Related to STEM, Bill McShane had mentioned one program called the Super Analytics Challenge. So that's like an example of a program that we designed with STEM in mind in analytics, because we wanted to provide an opportunity for our students to apply analytics to solve a complex societal problem, to address a complex problem. And then we have a number of corporations that are supporting that endeavor through an advisory committee, and we pair up executive coaches. And we've seen sort of students prove that they have really strong analytic and consulting ability, and they've been able to leverage that effectively in sort of interview process. So it's about, you know, where you've come from, your background, what you've learned at the Katz Graduate School of Business, but then importantly, how you've applied that learning through our integrated learning program. So, you know, we're giving you an opportunity to shine, essentially.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that very, very detailed answer. I'm going to quickly move to my next question from Ritesh, who wants to know, will there be interdisciplinary opportunities available to the students to sort of collaborate with students who are doing, let's say, a different sort of majors at the university?
So I can jump in and answer this one, and the answer is yes. And actually, some of the projects and opportunities that I highlighted are directly, you know, enables you to do that. So the technology fellowships I mentioned earlier, many of those projects are actually Katz students partnered with either a student from engineering, a student from public policy, or students from the School of Computing and Information to really bring that interdisciplinary lens to this problem or to this challenge. The same thing goes with our Super Analytics Challenge. Those teams are diverse from across the university to really one, enable you to like learn from others' perspectives and how their discipline is approaching a problem, but also kind of share your knowledge and your expertise to really kind of bring a comprehensive solution to our client partners here in the region. So I would say the bottom line is our project-based opportunities are really the gateway for you all to kind of work on these interdisciplinary challenges.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill. Let's move on to a little bit now about profile-related questions which have come in. There is Shrishti who wants to know, while they are in the admission process as such, you know, while they are making sure that they are ticking all the right sort of boxes, are there any courses or anything that you would recommend students to sort of take up, which would give them that much required edge when it comes to standing out in their profiles?
Yeah, so but I'll take this question. So how I mentioned, typically during you know, the admissions process for students that don't have a quantitative background, something that we found successful for our students is potentially maybe doing like a business fundamentals course, especially for students that have graduated maybe 5-6 years ago and haven't had undergrad courses or haven't had any quantitative courses. So maybe doing a fundamentals course would allow you to really, you know, polish upon your quantitative abilities and really touching upon your finance courses, accounting courses, and stats courses. And in addition, for students that, again, haven't been in the classroom for a few years, a great way, of course, to make sure you're prepared for the program is to submit a GMAT or GRE score, just to show maybe where you stand amongst the class profile, or if you meet the average of what our candidates do have. So I would say maybe a business fundamentals course would definitely put you in a good position to at least prepare yourself for the upcoming semester.
Great, great. While we are on the subject of profiles, I'm going to move to my next question. Someone has asked this, but I'm sure a few students always have this on their mind. What if a student is coming in with certain backlogs, or let's say they don't have the required GPA as such, the right academic grades? What can they do to sort of ensure that they're not losing out in this race? They are on the same playing field as all the other applicants who are looking to apply. Any tips for them?
Yeah, Sabat, absolutely. So for any students that may not have the strongest GPA or the strongest GRE score, at Katz, we review applications holistically. So we're looking at many different factors whenever students are applying to our business school. So we don't necessarily focus on just one designated area. We look at the entire application. So we're looking at your academic transcript. We want to make sure that you have the academic preparedness to be successful in a program, but also we're taking a deep dive into your letters of references. We're really, evaluating your personal essay, reviewing your analytical skills, your writing skills. During the interview, that's the perfect time to sell yourself. So typically for all of our full-time MBA interviews, and we pivoted a little bit for our specialized masters, but for a full-time MBA, the interviewers, we're really looking to learn more about your communication skills and, how successful will you be in the program, and will you work closely with, our career management team, and how will you interview, or will you take advantage of the internships that are offered to you? So if your background isn't the strongest, if you're not, maybe the strongest student academically, or maybe you've graduated 10 years ago and your background was in liberal arts, there were so many other factors that we look into to make sure that an application is reviewed holistically. And those ways I would say is to maybe, prepare for an interview, prepare to ask questions to the interview committee, maybe learn reasons why you're applying to Pitt Business, learn more about how we can help you in terms of, we want to make sure that you are successful in our program. So, making sure you're doing the research, but also preparing yourself would definitely help a student, when applying to the Katz School of Business. So I do say that it's a very holistic process, and there are many different factors we look into. It is not just your academic background.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ray. That was super helpful. There have been a few questions, but I'm sort of going to group them together and take it as a theme. With a lot of international students, especially from India and Africa, when they are looking to study abroad, this is the first time venturing out of their houses, going into a new country. Can we speak a little bit about, you see a lot of students on campus, international students on campus. What are some of the common challenges that they face, and what can they do if they were to come to Pitt's Business to ensure that, yes, they will have the right sort of support which is available for them to sort of, eliminate or lessen this worry which is on their mind?
Yeah. I'd be happy to tackle this first, and feel free to, anybody else that wants to answer this. But having an opportunity to travel to India twice, and having a chance to speak to students in Delhi and Mumbai and Bangalore, and even talking to our current students, of course, it's going to be a huge culture shock. And homesickness, of course, being so far away, and any African candidates on the call today, you're going to feel a culture shock. And it's going to be a unique opportunity because, being so far away from family and really uprooting your life to come to Pitt Business is a huge transition. But I will say that the way that Pitt Business combats that is through our graduate programs team. And they've done an amazing job to make sure that students feel welcomed and also comfortable here at Pitt Business. And as I mentioned, for any students that are from Africa or India, you will find many students from these same countries and these same cities here in Pittsburgh, whether through our undergrad programs or Pitt Business. And, we put celebrations on for our students, like, Chinese Lunar New Year, or we celebrate Diwali, and so many other amazing events that, although you're not back home in New Delhi, you can find that sense of community here in Pittsburgh. So you will feel a culture shock sense, but I think that'll fade shortly after you really, immerse yourself in Pittsburgh community, but also immerse yourself with other international students here on campus. So I'll allow anyone else to answer that question if you want to add on to that.
The only thing I'll add, I was going to say real quick, so over Chris's shoulder there is the Cathedral of Learning, and inside the Cathedral of Learning, we have 33 nationality rooms which have been built over the last 70 to 80 years that are really reflective of the immigrant communities that have called Pittsburgh home. So Pittsburgh has a long tradition of welcoming folks from around the world that contribute to the thriving success of our area, our industries, and our future. And there, as Trey mentioned, there are a number of students from other universities here. There are a number of students from around the world on Pitt's campus, and we have a really robust network that will support you and help you adjust to the academics and professional life here in Pittsburgh.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm sure that does reassure a lot of you who are in the audience today. Before I move on to my next question, very quickly, you will have the opportunity to all those who are attending today to get into a profile evaluation session for Katz Business School. I have dropped a link. We have limited slots available. So if you could go click on the link and register, it's in the chat window, and get an opportunity to have your profile evaluated. Everyone will be there to share their insights and help you. So click on that link and go for it. I know we've slightly short over time, but I'm going to take a few more questions. I know a lot of the team is working tirelessly back end to also answer a lot of questions which have come in. Moving to a little bit about the program. So technology, tech is the buzzword today. We all know that, right? So a lot of students have these questions around what kind of technological integration is available with the programs at Katz Business School, and how does this sort of allow students to, let's say, be a part of live simulations or interactive workshops or interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary projects, etc.?
I guess I can start with this one. And really, our curriculum continues to evolve to kind of meet the challenges and opportunities of the workforce and of the challenges of tomorrow. We have coursework that directly brings in technology into the classroom, whether that's looking to leverage artificial intelligence in certain processes and workflows, whether that's helping you improve sort of working with databases, working with statistical modeling, some of these very technical skills that are happening in the community. We try and bring them into the classroom. And then, as I continue, as I mentioned previously, our project-based opportunities really help us be flexible to kind of get you out and sort of playing around with some of these technologies and helping maybe some of these companies solve some of these challenges. So one of the great projects we did recently was actually looking at how can a company integrate AI into its process management, into its supply chain. And we're starting to see more and more projects that are looking for these technical challenges and technical solutions from our students. So you really get a chance to kind of experiment and really get to kind of learn more about these opportunities. And we're continuing to add more, opportunities to our credentials through our professional development programs. So we really try and take feedback from our industry partners. And Chris Barlow is really critical in helping us connect with the ecosystem here in Pittsburgh and getting these executives and our talent advisory committee members to really help us inform what is going to be needed for you as a student coming out of our program.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill. Well, this is, I would say, some of the questions, of course, have to do with visa processes, etc. If anyone would like to take them on, a lot of students go in for their visa interviews, need to wait with the processes changing, all the time. Are there any tips that you could share with students to ensure that they're not missing out on the bandwagon and getting all of their documentation ready on time so they are in for their semesters?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tackle this one, Sabat. So at Katz, and especially for fall 2025, and for any international student, we highly suggest submitting your application details by February 1st.
Okay.
And although that's a few months away, that would be the best time to submit your application. We can be a bit lenient moving into like March 1st, and that does get a little bit too close to the deadline. So for any students that are interested in fall 2025, please begin your application today if possible, because that would ensure that you have time for the visa interview process, but also receiving your I-20 for fall 2025. So February 1 is like a fairly strict deadline. We can be a little flexible moving into March, but it will be best to submit everything by February 1st if possible.
Yeah, and I'll just add in, we understand that the visa process is a very complicated one, and it's unique to different countries. So what we very highly recommend, as Trey said, start early. So that starts with your application. We can't start the I-20 process until you've been admitted. So get your application in early. Once you're admitted, we highly encourage you to engage with our Office of International Services as early as possible. So the moment you decide you want to join Katz, you would be engaging with OIS, and then to be very proactive in scheduling your visa interviews. And again, to do that as early as possible. So we've had students go through multiple rounds of visa interviews. So you don't want to be delaying getting those scheduled if you have to go through another round. So just as early as possible, engage with our Office of International Services and then get those visa interviews scheduled ASAP.
Thank you. Thank you so much. With that, of course, I know quite a few questions that we have answered, quite a few which we've not had the chance, but I would like to now thank everyone for their time. To everyone in the audience, thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. We hope you had an opportunity to learn a lot more about Katz Graduate Business School. I know I did, and take away some very important learnings. Of course, like I said, the link is there. Please feel free if you want to join in for a profile evaluation session. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the team at Pitts Business or to us at Seed Global Education. We will be happy to help you. And with that, I would like to thank everyone on the panel, everyone in the backend team, also all of you who've been typing and posting answers to all of the questions that have come in. Thank you so much. That has been highly insightful. I hope you have a great day. Happy holidays to everyone, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.